Hello again. I've had a number of emails lately from people who ask why I keep banging on about ethnicity, immigration, and possible differences in cognitive ability between different populations. The answer to this is very simple. It's very simple and very obvious. I care about England and I don't like seeing it being trashed. Let me give three instances of the way that this is happening. First, the history of my country is being systematically altered, and these alterations are now finding their way into school books and history books aimed at children. Some of these falsehoods are now actively being targeted at children to try and deceive them about the history of England. I've seen a children's history book featuring a scene from the Roman occupation of Britain which features black people. This is fantasy. The famous black trumpeter in Tudor Britain that I've mentioned before is now in another kid's history book. It's not just books that are the problem because many young people take their history from television these days, particularly television dramas, things that are supposed to be historical fact tricked out as drama. Some of the nonsense and lies from The Crown are now believed by many young people to be historical facts, so this can be a danger. We've seen the Black Anne Boleyn and, of course, the Black Queen Charlotte. A new drama about Elizabeth I's teenage years is being made. It's called Becoming Elizabeth. I show a scene from it in the thumbnail to this video. We see a black woman next to somebody who appears to be Indian. In the background we glimpse a man who looks as though he might be Indian as well. There's a white guy included in the shot too, although he's got his head turned away. In short, 3/4 of the people in this shot, set in Tudor England, are from visible minorities. This is grotesque. Within a few years, the falsification of English history will be complete, and children will grow up thinking that the country has always been the way it is now. This means that their roots will have been removed. Another thing which bothers me is the fact that increasingly speaking English is not enough to gain access to effective medical care. This is because an awful lot of doctors and nurses do not speak very good English. It's okay for me, I can usually make myself understood, and I'm not afraid to be persistent and even cut up rough if necessary. But for many English people, especially the old and those in working class districts, this means that they're at risk of getting the wrong treatment. Let me give you a simple personal example of this. The other month I had to visit Princess Alexandra Hospital in Harlow, an Essex town which is almost 100% white working class. The staff at the hospital were nearly all foreigners or immigrants, and there was a serious language barrier. A really serious language barrier. I speak clearly enough, but even so there were problems. I used the word bristle to the doctor, who I think was probably Arab. Bristle is not a complex medical term. Most people know what bristles are, short, stubbly hairs, things on brooms. No, he hadn't got a clue what I meant by it. So we had a long discussion in which I tried to come up with synonyms for bristle, and then I started to explain in a different way because he really wasn't getting it. When I had blood taken, it was done very smoothly, and I was pleased because I don't really like needles. I congratulated the woman who had taken it and told her she had a delicate touch. She looked at me blankly and said, "What does mean delicate?" I think that she was Eastern European. The disadvantages and dangers of having medical staff who aren't fluent and cannot even understand basic English is so obvious that I don't need to spell it out. Every time I have dealings now with a doctor or hospital, I always check all the records myself and make sure that they're correct. Imagine what it would be like for an old working class English person who might not be so pernickety or articulate. Here's a final point. Yesterday I was talking in a light-hearted way about the decline in standards at universities in England and the rest of Britain and the consequent devaluation of degrees. The thing is, this isn't a light-hearted subject because it means that our children and grandchildren are likely to be deprived of the high-quality education which was once available at the best British universities. This is a dreadful state of affairs and has been caused simply by the desperate desire to fill the universities with ethnic minorities who cannot cope with the courses. These are just three reasons that I talk about things like race and immigration. The country I was born in is being screwed up, and I really would like to see the process reversed. So I'm probably not going to stop going on about it for a little while yet.